You guys would never have guessed that this was hiding underneath my car. Now this is only one of the two subframes and they're both absolutely horrendous. Frankly, I'm surprised the car hadn't fallen apart. But in today's video at BD Performance, we're going to be installing a front and rear subframe, fully polybushed, fully powder coated, so this car will not only handle on track, but it will look as good underneath the car as it does on the outside. What's the first process then when it comes to a job this big?
Well, I've taken the wheels off, I've just undone the drop links now, I've undone the steering column inside the car, and then, to be honest, there's not many bolts holding the front subframe on, so once we've got these off, we'll get it up in the air, get all the under trays and everything out of the way, disconnect the power steering pipes, and then it'll just a few bolts and we'll be dropping the whole subframe down in one. So we've got a front subframe, rear subframe, we've got rear upper and lower control arms, rear trailing arms, rear track control arms, pair of front wishbones and a pair of front wishbone rear bush mounts.
And of course we've got all the bushes in the car as well, provided by Powerflex.
Yeah.
It's a fairly expensive job, but it's definitely worth doing, not only to improve handling, avoid rust damage in the future, but just to make your car show ready. Because as I was saying earlier, it's not just looking good on the outside and the inside, it's looking good underneath as well. Yeah,
these cars are of an age now where all the bushes and stuff are starting to become, deteriorated anyway, so they're starting to feel like old cars on the road. When doing this, replacing all these bushes just makes it feel a lot fresher, a lot firmer on the road. And also, it just means that you can have all your wheel alignment done properly, because the camber bolts that allow you to adjust the tracking on the rear of the car especially, have got a very bad habit of seizing into the bushes, so doing all this just means your car can be properly set up for the road as well.
In the meantime, guys, some excitement is going along here with Kerry's 1000 horsepower RS.
900.
Alan, you have a YouTube channel. They can go watch all your videos too. But what have you been up to under Kerry's car?
Fitting this stupid thing.
Which is?
Summit.
Oh yeah, the one under there. Okay.
Yeah, that was
bracing because his car's so fast.
Yeah, awkward to say the least.
It's because it's 900 horsepower, but yet it says 1000.
Because he got the stickers made up before it went on the
Men
dyno.
just have to overcompensate, don't they?
Yeah.
It's a thing. But yeah, guys, if you didn't know already, Alan Young, ST225, has a YouTube channel too where he does all of this kind of Mk2 RS and ST specialised content. He's a mechanic and knows what he's talking about, so if there's anyone to trust, it's him. I won't bore you with that anymore, but yeah, this is what he's up to. And here, they've also been working on this RS. I do like those wheels, rather tasty, where they've been doing lots of stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going to be going on with my car.
Like 15 mil?
I'm not actually sure, I think so. But it's the 2025 that we had on the RS wheels. But no, I'm looking forward to the whole process of cleaning this really, because it's a bit of a state underneath. It's not really something we've given a lot of time to, is it?
No, it just makes sense to do it when this running gear is removed. It gives us a lot more access to actually clean, a lot of the areas that you're never going to get to again. And it just makes sense to do it now, really. So.
Regarding running gears, there's a lot of talk in the fast forward community of putting the Mk2 RS running gear in the ST. What's your thought process behind that?
It's all good. The problem with it is the width, the actual track width of the vehicle makes the wheels stick out beyond the arches, so you'd have to go down the lines of something like the AirTech wide arch kit or something like that to make it fit properly. Right, Ben, where have we got to? Where are we at? We've got the front end all stripped off the car basically. While it's all off, we're just getting Lee to go over and give it a quick clean off, just the areas that we can get to while it's all stripped apart before we put it back together. But basically I've got all the old bits stripped off the original subframe, so I just need to put the Powerflex bushes and stuff into the new powder coated arms, and then once Lee's finished cleaning we can just put the front end back together and call that done before we move on to the rear. Okay, nice, cool. Do you want to show us what it looks like underneath? Yeah, you can do. Obviously he sprayed some multi-surface cleaner onto it just to soak in for now, just to break down some of the grease. So he's going to give that a scrub with a brush and give it all a wipe over, and that'll be nice and clean before we put the new bits back on. So Ben, this is the front anti-roll bar? Yeah, just an original one, but we had one that was already powder coated, so we might as well swap it over. Yours isn't actually too bad. It's got some kind of some under sealer stuff that's gone pretty hard on it, so it doesn't look that amazing. So we'll just swap it out anyway. I just put the drop links just through the jet clean quickly, so just to get all the grime off, and we'll see what they're like. I'll dry them up and see what they're like. Maybe we'll give them a coat of paint and see how they look.
The steering rack's out down here.
Yeah.
And I'm annoyed that we didn't buy a reconned one just for the sake of this video.
Yeah, okay, but we didn't know what we were going to be doing exactly. Plus, the problem is that with a recon rack, you'd be better off getting one from probably one of the very few companies that actually know how to do it. You know, the most common thing with a Focus ST with a Mark II, including some of the RSs, Ben, is that they become
mileage,
they become stiff in the centre. Basically stiff on the pinion itself of the rack, so there's not many people that know that, and they just recon it, put new seals in it and what have you, and that's it.
So this one is the gearbox mount, right?
Yeah, the torque mount, yeah.
One of my favourite upgrades when I first got the car, to be fair.
Yeah, it's still in really good condition anyway, so just
Fabulous.
again, like everything else, we'll just give it a quick clean down.
You want to explain to them what you've been up to?
So obviously you're having an underbody restoration. It's not a full underbody restoration where we're actually going to be taking everything out. We'd normally strip the full car down underneath, all the tins out, exhaust out. But for you, because we're only here for a couple of days, we're going to do the best we possibly can. So as you can see here, this is what it was like beforehand. All I've done at the moment is sprayed G101 onto the surface, agitated it with a brush on a drill, rubbed it in, and just wiping everything we can off. So as you can see, the difference from before and sort of halfway into the sort of
You
clean.
can definitely see it's murky up there, and it looks good up there. Come here! Hello! Excuse me. Look at this little one. Hello. Oh, look. It's the BD dog. So, to the viewer that's probably curious, what difference does installing uprated bushes to your car actually make?
Well, it'll just make everything feel a lot firmer, but especially if your car's got a lot of mileage on it and the bushes have deteriorated, which gives a lot of play in all the suspension, which in turn will have an effect on the geometry of the vehicle, so it'll make it not drive very nice, wear tyres unevenly, all that sort of stuff. And all this will just fix that. And also, like I think I mentioned earlier, the rear track control arms, they're actually where you carry out the adjustments to the wheel alignment. So they've got a problem where the pins actually seize into the bushes, and it means you cannot adjust the wheel alignment on the rear of the car. So all of this is going to help us get a much better setup and a much nicer driving car.
Right, so down to all of Ben's hard work, the front end is now completely polybushed. You can tell that most of them are purple. We do have a few blacks going on the car, but you'll see over here as well that in the meantime, Lee has been cleaning the underside of the car over here. Now, of course, all of the rear subframe and all those bits will be coming out, and they will be looking beautiful at the end of this video. But for now, we're going to get the front end on and get started on the rear. Unfortunately, guys, we don't actually have any replacements of this, which ironically is probably the worst looking part on the car. But no, you haven't got any, have you, Ben?
We haven't got any. We've only got RS ones on the shelf at the minute.
Yeah. So the RS ones don't fit then?
No.
Is there a reason behind that, just out of interest?
Because they're different.
It's that simple, okay. Thanks for the explanation.
No worries.
But no, that looks absolutely hanging.
Okay. Eh?
Can we just take a second to appreciate the absolute state of that? Grim, isn't it, Ben?
Minging.
I was going to say, I've seen a lot worse.
You've been taking the rear subframe apart, and what have you found?
Rust. Just
Right,
generally,
so some of the bushes are absolutely
just
sharp.
generally some not very pretty bushes.
Yeah.
But actually, in fairness, it's actually come apart really well, because sometimes these bolts are so badly seized into these bushes. We end up having to cut them out and all sorts. It takes hours. But this has come up out really nicely.
Blasting bolts, because obviously we didn't know we were going to do a kind of full version of this.
Should we run you through what we've actually got up to? Because look, facelift mirrors, they've cleaned under here. They've taken out all the rusted old metal from the ST and all the dodgy bushes, and they've basically restored it all, powder coated it, made it look lovely, put Powerflex Purple, Darren, purple and black bushes in, and yeah, it's just looking unbelievable.
A couple of little brackets that we haven't got replacements for, so I'm just going to clean them up and try and make them, you know, look a bit better. Whilst they don't probably look that horrendous, once you bolt them onto a car that's got a fully refurbished subframe on it, they're going to look absolutely horrendous, aren't they? So you just can't leave them, can you?
Do you want to tell us what you've been up to?
Trying to get this done in time for you, which
Yeah,
is quite hard. Basically, we're using a tornado cleaner. It's full of G101, which is a degreaser and detergent, and we're just using it to basically, obviously we can't get a jet wash in here for obvious reasons, and we also use a bucket of water to clean underneath. We got drills to agitate.
Yeah, that's what I use on my seats when I'm doing rug doctor stuff. But no mate, it looks absolutely amazing. Compared to what it did before, you guys aren't going to see a massive difference on here. Well, I don't know, you might do, but all the same, it's gone from filthy to looking a lot better, and
It
it hasn't
looks a
even
little
finished
bit
yet.
disappointing underneath here, as you can see, because on the sound deadening, this is actually overspray from the factory. It looks like dirt, but it's not. So every car is different. If you go over and have a look at the green one, you'll see green overspray over the yellow sound deadening.
So this is basically where they have all the bits powder coated and stored.
Yeah, this is...
However, they've been stored with all the RS bits. So the dilemma today between Ben and Alan has been working out which bits are RS, which bits are ST. As you can see up here, guys, Ben is now installing the front subframe that's been powder coated and obviously fitted with all the Powerflex bushes. It's a massive improvement from the one that we had in there before, but I can't wait to show you what the underside of the car looks like when it's all complete. It's definitely worth your time, and yeah, my pockets are going to be very much more empty at the end of this video, but thanks to Ben, this car is going to look absolutely fantastic. You've bolted the front subframe back in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed there's a cloth here, it's because the power steering pump is disconnected.
Yeah, so we've disconnected, we've disconnected the pipes from the steering rack, basically.
So what do you have to then reconnect once this is bolted in?
So full reverse of how we took it off. We fitted the wishbones before we put it on just to make life a bit easier, but basically we need to reconnect the tracker ends, the bottom ball joints, put the power steering pipework back together, and we'll have to bleed the system afterwards. Some exhaust rubbers here, and that's it really. There isn't very much to the front one, to be fair. Right, so I fitted the upper and lower control arms along with the trailing arms with the subframe off the vehicle, only because access to the bolts is a little bit tricky once it's on the car. We're going to leave it at that now. We'll bolt it onto the car once Lee's finished, and then we'll do the track control arms and the springs and the anti-roll bars all on the car, because we've got nice easy access to all the bolts when they're on the car.
Right, because Ben's an absolute wizard, he's managed to put together the rear subframe as well, which, as we've spoken about previously in the video, has been powder coated. You've bolted everything up together. You've also cleaned all the bolts that are going to actually attach it to the car. Fitted all the purple Powerflex bushes. We didn't need to buy new wheel bearings, so it's a bonus. We're going to bolt this up into the car now, and then we can show you what it looks like, complete, front and rear. Brakes put back together, and then we can get started putting the tyres on the RS wheels. Ben, I've got a question for you. If there was a bush that was the most important bush on the rear subframe, what would it be?
To be honest, it would be the track control arm in a bush, which we haven't fitted yet. But
So one of these.
this in a bush, only because it's where the wheel alignment is carried out from. So it's got a camber bolt, and that is how the alignment is done. If they're seized, you can't do it, and basically you'll have uneven wear on the tyres, and you can't ride nice or anything. Can't get the other one, can I?
Right, so the anti-roll bar is going on. Now the rear subframe is attached to the car. Ben's been absolutely missioning it to do it all properly. He smashed it out of the park, but yeah, the anti-roll bar is going to get tightened up now. And then I think it's just wheels and a few other bits and bobs, just checking things over.
Yeah, I think that's about it now.
Yeah, then we'll take some photos so that we can show you guys on other social platforms. But yeah, thanks to these guys because he cleaned it. And yeah, Ben's been working real hard the last couple of days. So, if you can't see already, rear subframe now fitted. Front subframe was done earlier in the video. But yeah, let's get that anti-roll bar on. So there we have it. Everything is now fitted. You can see that it's a lot cleaner than it was before. Bear in mind, I haven't come here to do a restoration project, so the goal was not to clean the underside of the car. But compared to what it was before, it's a massive, massive difference. All of that rusty, horrible metal has come out. All the old bushes have been replaced with Powerflex, and now it's looking amazing. Ben, if you don't mind, would you run through with the audience exactly what it is you've done now you've bolted it all back together?
Yeah, so starting from the front of the car, we've replaced the front subframe and the front wishbones with some blasted and powder coated versions. We've replaced, on the front wishbones, we've replaced the front bushes with some Powerflex items, along with the Powerflex anti-lift kit on the rear of the wishbone there. We've got some blasted and powder coated brackets to the rear and this cross member here. And then we've done a full clean down of the underside. We haven't replaced any of the heat shielding or anything like that on this particular job, but you know, that is something that can be done. So we've cleaned it front to rear. And going on to the rear end, we've replaced the full rear subframe along with the track control arms, the lower control arms, the upper control arms, and we fitted all of them arms with the Powerflex purple bushes, along with, and also we've cleaned all you know, the underside of the car before all that was refitted as well.
Right, I'm like an excited kid at Christmas. The old one, you guys can see how bad it is, and then these ones, you can see now, look absolutely fantastic. They are fully adjustable. Can you go into dipped and high beam, please? There you go, dipped and high beam.